Hi everybody, this is a video overview of this knife, and this knife is the Benchmade 940-1. The 940-1 is a special edition of the 940, which is a longtime staple of the Benchmade lineup. It's a Warren Osborne design, and the knife comes in three variants. So the first variant is the traditional 940, which has the tanto point and the aluminum handle. There is also the 943, which has the aluminum handle, but it has the spear point blade. And then there is this one, the 940-1. And as with most Benchmade knives that have the dash and then a series of numbers, it indicates that this is a special model. And this is indeed a special model. Instead of the aluminum handles, it has really beautiful, just almost like fish scale, shiny carbon fiber. It's still grippy. I mean, it's not slick. It's not like the glass coated or really thickly coated carbon fiber on some knives. It's good. And then instead of having a backspacer, this one has a flow through construction with two really awesomely anodized blue standoffs. They're a great contrast to what would otherwise be an almost entirely black and white knife. And then finally, the real upgrade for this knife. The real upgrade is found in the blade steel. And as you can see right there, it is S90V. S90V is they say it's a tool steel, but it has a lot of chromium to prevent rust. So it's very rust resistant, and it is very hard. It can get up to 61, 62 in Rockwell, and it has 2.4% carbon, which is quite a bit of carbon. It's among the highest out there. It's more than M390 and just less than ZDP-189, but everything's less than ZDP-189. Overall, I've found so far in my use of the knife, which has been about a week, that it works quite well. It has not needed any resharpening. I've actually done some pretty good cutting tasks with it. In addition to that, this knife it's worked on, and it's possibly the second one of these knives that I got from Benchmade. When the first one came, there was a bunch of problems. There were two stains here on the clip. This screw on the clip was loose, so it would, if I took the knife and shook it, it would rattle. And then if you look on the inside of this knife, you can see them right there. There are three plastic inserts that fall into the carbon fiber. There's three on each side. And those are actually glued in place, and there are threads on the inside to accept the screws. I don't think that the carbon fiber would work as a medium that you screw into with screws this small. And so not only was the screw loose here, but that little insert was loose as well, so I could never actually tighten it down. I could screw it all day long, and because there was nothing holding that little threaded insert in place, it would just turn and turn and turn. In addition to that, this screw right here, the one you can see right there under the pocket clip that actually holds the liner in place. Let me see if I can get this. There it is. You can see the liner. That also had just fallen out. I put it in my pocket as soon as I opened a box, and then I pulled it out, and then it fell out. In addition to that, the blade grind here on the tip, going down into the secondary edge on the reverse tanto, that was pretty crooked. It probably started here. It was something like maybe like that. And it's much straighter on this one. And then finally, the thing that was actually probably the biggest problem was the fact that when I would open and then close the knife, there was that telltale scissor snick, and it was rubbing up against this liner, and it actually produced some carbon fiber dust in it. So I sent the knife back. Took a week to get there. They got the knife on a Friday, and then they sent me an email saying that they got it, and about an hour later they sent me another email saying there's one on its way. I don't know if they fixed the one I had or if they sent me a new one, but the one that they sent me, whether it's mine that was fixed or it's a new one, is absolutely perfect. There is nothing wrong with this knife. It is dead center. It has remained dead center. It is loose in the pivot to flick it. The deployment is really, really smooth. There is no blade play in any direction. Overall, my impressions of this knife are that despite its blade length, which is 3.5 inches, being much longer than my normal preferred blade length on a DDC knife, this knife is actually quite good in the pocket. And one of the reasons why is because it is so slim and it is so incredibly light. It's not the thinnest knife in the world, but it's very nicely proportioned. The blade fits your hand quite well. Everything is done very, very well on this knife. I don't have any really problems with the blade shape. I do like reverse tantos. There is a lot of space here that's just sort of there to be long. I think they could cut out, like a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch, and not really impact the performance of the knife at all. I get that lots of people like long blades, and this one's a very good long blade, but it doesn't really do anything. It's just more blade length. Overall, I like the knife for the price. You're still getting quite a bargain. I mean, the carbon fiber is a nice upgrade, and the blade steel is really hard to find. So, I mean, those two things alone are worth some increase in price. And while it is expensive, retailing at around $275, $260, $275, the base model of the 940 is not like a bargain knife. I think it's like $160, $170, $180, and really, it deploys so well. It's so good. Of course, the axle lock is great, and the blade steel is great. Thumb studs are very good. Overall, I would have to say, if I'm going to EDC a knife that's this size, this is a really, really competitive option. It's much thinner, or it's much less tall than, say, like the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. And as light as the Spyderco Paramilitary 2 is at 3.75 ounces, this is more than an ounce. This is almost an ounce and a half lighter at around 2.3, 2.4 ounces. Just a great knife. I mean, it's a fantastic knife. And look for the review of this knife coming shortly.